just a blind conversation this morning in a chat group that me and some of my older teammates and guys that I look up to have going through Messenger. I found out that my varsity coach, who I haven't talked to since the day, I had to stop wrestling, is actually coming down here. He's still in contact with Brian, and I haven't seen him in over 30, 35 years. And so he doesn't know that I'm going to be here. And this all just happened within a few minutes. I happen to be off today, so the stars align. And to say I'm nervous is an understatement. This is, just when I think I have a handle on all this, and I'm beyond years ago and everything that happened to me years ago, through my own doing with smokeless tobacco, that, that it's kind of behind me. And something like this happens, and it's not completely. I'm pretty emotional right now. This is the first time I'm going to be able to see my varsity coach since I had to stop wrestling in 1990, and everything just came down crashing on me. Lost my dad the same year, and me not wrestling anymore had a lot to do with my smokeless tobacco habit. It was pretty much the causation of it and the resulting damage from it. And I haven't seen my coach in over 30 plus years. He's now 80 years old. I'm 52, and this is going to be a little strange, and it's going to be emotionally taxing for me all day, because whether I want to or not, sometimes even if I just show up at youth tournaments, I have ghosts following me all the time. They're there whether I want them to be or not, and I'm going to think about things whether I try to or not. And I'm finding out as I get older that I love wrestling even more than I did back then, and I'm 100% committed to my room and everybody in it, and there's reasons why I do it for free, and this is one of them. I absolutely could have wrestled in NCAA. I had the talent level, there's no doubt about it, but I didn't get there, partially because of what I was doing with smokeless tobacco and how it affected my health, and kind of put me in a situation where I couldn't wrestle anymore, and so I've always felt funny about charging a rate for services versus other guys that did wrestle in NCAA that have their credentials on paper and things. I've always been at odds with that myself, and I just feel like I'm bullshitting somebody, maybe a little bit, okay? And so that's one of the reasons why I don't charge for it. I'm not out to bullshit anybody. Maybe someday, when there's enough of a talent level coming out of my room, and there already is, but it's consistent, and I've put myself out there enough, and I've done the work of keeping the room open long enough and proven that I want to do it. It's not just it hasn't been just a thing for to burn off some excess energy for a couple of years while I'm interested in it, that I'm, that it's there long term, and if I absolutely have to keep it open, it may be a small fee or something, but I'm doing everything I can not to have it go that way. But, this is going to be a big deal for me. This individual meant a lot to me, and, I'm still proud to have worn a Hopewell singlet when I did. I'm proud of the program back then. I had a lot of guys to look up to lead me the right way with, in the mat room, as far as what you needed to do as a wrestler, and what the unspoken expectations were when you moved up from youth into junior high, okay? And, I'm still proud of that. And, I'm looking forward to meeting him, but man, am I awfully nervous. And after I'm done with this, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle it, because my dad's obviously attached to wrestling a lot. Any son and dad, knows that that relationship there in wrestling specifically, for whatever reason, it's intense stuff. A wrestling dad and a wrestling son. My dad was with me every step of the way from day one. Even when the mills were going down and there was no money, wrestling on the weekends was a break for those guys from the stress of not knowing what was going to happen with their lives, their house, and things got hard financially. And, Hopewell Youth Wrestling at that time was one big family, and I'm still proud of it, So there's a lot of things going back there with my dad that he's been gone for 36 years, and obviously, it's been a long time. I have other things to worry about in adult life. But this just all come out of the blue today, and, I kind of wasn't ready for it, but this happens a lot to me. I could just be driving around town or go to some tournament somewhere or a clinic or see something that just brings back a lot of things all of a sudden out of nowhere that I have to find a way to deal with. And if you love wrestling, like a real wrestler, it's never easy. It's just not. I'm a human being like anybody else. That's one thing I teach kids is, recognize coaches as human beings. They're not robots, They're They don't just show up to practice every day and just deal out instructions and just kind of like be there. You know, it's easy for young people to kind of get wrapped up in themselves and forget that part just because of where their brain is at when they're young, you know. And as a coach, you have to expect that. But some of them aren't always going to be appreciative 24/7. They're always going to understand how you feel when you walk in the mat room after working all day and whatever, and what's going on in your life. You have to know that going into it. But I do teach them, you know, the coaches have limits, and coaches are human beings. They cry, they laugh, you know, they experience loss, and they were young ones like me, you know. So this is a big deal for me. And, you know, you can even, like right now, I'm starting to get heavy-winded because he's on his way down here and he doesn't know I'm here. So, you know, I'm going to try to enjoy myself and catch up with the past. And, you know, hopefully I can go through the rest of the day smiling and, you know, not be haunted by some things that, you know, that I just don't want to remember anymore. So, catch you later. Thanks. Bye.